Do it. They go live. Tell me when.
Trying. Whoops. All right. And we are up.
We are up. Hello, everybody. Doc Misak here, just welcoming you back again to another show. I hope you guys can all hear me well. I'm going to go and tune in, and I'll check my chat box here in a second and try to keep in tune because I get kind of sidetracked as I do this. But welcome back. I hope you guys are feeling well, doing well, and excited for another show. Always, I love to go to the Bible app, and this is great. Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, singing to God with gratitude in your hearts. Colossians 3:16. You got to love those 3:16 verses. There was a book once written just on 3:16 verses, and it was amazing. Just looking at how many verses in that 3:16 are so important for how they speak to the heart. So, not a whole lot of plans today. I did send a message to Philip. You're out there. I don't know if you got that text message or not from me. If you're out there and joining us from Australia, I was trying to have some other people join me today, and it didn't quite work out. But we're going to get some other people start joining on the show and just saying hello and telling some stories of RBTI and the history, as well as just some applications of things that we can do. Just to continually stay healthy. Let me pull up my YouTube and see if anybody out there. I'm not getting the chat. Let me see if it'll upload. There we go. Hey, Annie, I have the front page as our Doc Misak here, not on the Zoom meeting. So it looks like people might be hearing me, but it looks like what's live is our Doc Misak.
I'm working on it. I found the other stream. It's kind of dead, but I'm going to comment, let everybody know the new link, and hopefully we can bring them on over. So I'm going to try to do that.
So, but right now it's not showing. It's not showing online as far as. Oh, it is showing it. Okay, boom. I'm good. Excellent. Good morning, Jackie, TJ, Prophet Bear, Best Well of Knowledge on YouTube. Well, thank you, Diana Burton. Good morning, Jackie. Again, good morning. Hey, if you guys again have questions, we're going to talk a little bit about restorative health today and just kind of put things in perspective. Annie's been helping me. She's like, Doc, what are you trying to show people? And Annie has been helping to try to make visual aids with it. So she's going through and trying to get. We had another show start up this morning and then crash, and I don't know why we have these. It's always like right at the moment when we're ready to go live. It's like, Doc, it changed, something happened, shut down, and so we redid it, and here we are. But the people who were in the other chat window, and he's trying to go back and say, hey, you need to shut and come to the other page. So hopefully everyone can tune in. We have 15 of you out there. I'd appreciate if all of you, as usual, give that thumbs up if you're online. That does help the statistics. About a week and a half ago, we had an official 1,000 subscribers to Doc Misak. So I wish we could get 1,000 people to watch the show weekly, and how we can notify those people that the show has not stopped and that we're live. But some reason we try to send things out and we are not getting that people are being notified. I don't know how that is. And I've had people, I don't know if you've tried sharing the show and downloading it and sending it to people and the link not working. So if we have solutions to that, send them to me. Tell us what to do. But otherwise, right now, we're just going to keep kind of pushing forward with what we're able to do. RWB America, good morning, Red Label. Yes, Doc. Thank you. Hey, so what we want to do, Annie has been doing some incredible things with, I mentioned last night and today, there's only been one person who's read my book, and it's the other person on that camera with me. And Annie's, what she's been doing, she has a history of doing some graphic design, and she is making some visual aids to put words into pictures, which are really quite incredible, people. And then she tries to corner me and say, okay, Doc, here's the basis. Now, what do you want to say here?
Yeah, now I need more information and I need you to focus.
Focus.
Yep.
Try to focus. Sometimes that can be kind of a problem. I have a lot that goes through my head quite often. Now, hey, I did get up, took some vitalometry. I just had Annie share a little bit of a herbal shot with me. She's like,
still drinking water from that one. That was a good one. Wow.
She's like, what are you mixing there? I'm like, nothing really, you know. So we do these. I don't know how many of you have been to Doc Misak, and then docmisak.com. It's actually a website where these shows are kind of shared, and the research where I've been published is on there. There's also a video with Kathy Ireland, the Kathy Ireland show, and if you watch that video, in there's a section of where I'm pouring out some herbs, and you can see these little shot glasses of herbs. And I was just, they were like, hey, do something. So what I did while the camera crew was here, I just poured out 4 herbal shots, and you see me on the camera taking and shooting down a shot of liquid herbs. And so Annie tends to have this pain, and you guys have seen why if you go back and watch some of the old shows. And she's had some real incredible breakthroughs with that. But for some reason, she likes my herbal shots. And whether it's the midnight hour or what do they say, like right before you're like we're getting ready for this show in the morning, and it's just like 7 minutes till 10, and I'm like, so what are we talking about? She's like, are you serious, Doc?
Yeah, I'm not prepared for this. I'm getting used to it, but oh my gosh.
And she's saying, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, what are we doing? And so we want to bring back the aspect of restorative health. And Annie, I don't know if you want to pull that up and talk about, or
I have it ready.
A couple of those. And
I just have the restorative health graph.
Okay, do you have the road?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
I messed up. The laptop I have fonts aren't installed. I can't edit the file easily, so I can try while we're live to update it, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Let's see. Share screen. You ready?
Yeah, so Annie's going to share something. I'm going to talk you through this a little bit, and we'll see how it pops up and whether you guys can see, because when you share screen, I want to see if I can see it. There you go. Sharing. Boom. Open that up.
What happened?
So this is going to be an excerpt that's going to be found in the book.
Hold on. I want to make sure that they're getting it.
Yeah, well, it's popping up on Zoom, so I'm assuming they're getting it, but the file's not open.
That's usually the issue. Let's see here. Where'd it go? Yeah, see, I have it open, but are you still seeing my folder?
I'm seeing your folder with the check mark that it needs to open.
This is the issue we had last time. Let's see. Stop it. Let's try this way. How about now? What do you have in
there? We go. Yay. Congratulations. Perfect.
Hang on. Let me double check OBS, see what we got going on here. Oh man. Yeah, see, it locks Zoom up for some reason, and then I can't.
Oh, okay. See it. Well, it shows. I don't know how many of you guys can see that picture. If you guys can make a comment of whether you saw it or not. Oh, we went back to.
Yeah, I'm going to try to share it in the chat. Maybe I can do that. No, I can't. We're going to find a way to get it up here. Oh, come on.
Does it change the memory of distilled water to reboil it? Thank you, Doc. Well, the idea, I mean, when you boil water, no, not necessarily. It's that changes of phase. So there's a thing called the fourth phase of water, that in between liquid to gas, or in between gas to liquid, or there's a intermittent change there that occurs. So how many of you guys, because right now Annie's sharing on Zoom and she's got a picture, it says restorative health model. If you can see that right now, please let us know. And because right now I'm looking at it, and basically what Annie's doing is turning around. To me, Annie, it looks great. And I just don't know if other people are seeing that
Yeah,
on Zoom.
I'm trying to confirm. Hold on. See, it freezes us. Like, what they see is that our screen freezes in Zoom, and they don't see the share. I don't know why.
That's odd.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if that froze and no one could hear, but the screen seems to freeze when we share the screen, and then we were like on the screen frozen like that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure why OBS won't update. I'll throw it. I can get it up on for them.
Okay.
Just give me a minute. I just gotta go in a different way through OBS, and we'll get it going.
That's odd because when we used to do screen share while I was on and showing the video or showing that slideshow, it always worked.
If you do PowerPoint, it's fine. If I try to show an image or a video, I don't know why.
What if you throw that into a PowerPoint slide right now and then open
Probably.
up PowerPoint?
Well, that what I'm gonna do is just throw it into OBS so they can see it. You won't see it as they see it, but you've seen it enough that you know what it is. So
I do. It's just nice to look at.
well, yeah. Click open your email. You have an email in there from me, so you can see it.
Madam Practicality. There we go.
You guys are figuring this out as we go.
I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm going to have a drink on that one.
Let's see. All right. Restorative Health. Here we go. Whoops. Oh my. Okay. Well, they see it. It's really huge. Okay.
So if you guys, what we were talking about is Annie's the only one who has read my book.
All right,
and I don't know.
They have the model up.
Okay. And so with that, we're sitting here and trying to explain the aspects of health. And so you can see the restorative health model. And I'm going to pull up in her. She has sent that to me in a text message and everything. And I'm going to pull that up. And just so we can sit there and talk about that a little bit. I've got it. Okay. Yep. Thank you. And so I want you to get an idea here because we're trying to give you a visual to understand, a process of health. And so naturopathic medicine, teaches on these basic principles of that the body heals itself and, first do no harm and, treat the whole person. But one of the primary things is identify the cause, remove the cause, and you will see what used to be termed the cure, but we don't cure people because that'd be completely illegal in today's day and age. So what we do is we promote restorative health. And so where we used to call it the healing range, this is the restorative range when you're looking at RBTI. So I want you to look at this model. And on the left, you have total load or stress. How much stress can you handle? And you have a threshold, that blue line that comes upon. And as you exceed your threshold, and what makes up your stress? Spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, environmental, even microbial. Microbial imbalances. I've told you that there's like a 10-to-1 ratio for every cell of your body, there's 10 microbes in your body. You are a bag of bugs, people. And so that microbiome that we're looking at, or people sit there and focus in and say it's only in your gastrointestinal tract, that completely goes against what the eclectics thought back in the 1930s and earlier than that, from a standpoint of what we call pleomorphism just Enderlein actually in the 1800s was saying, hey, it's all about the environment. So what is your environment? What is your total load? So when we're talking about this, I teach that if you go where Annie says, hey, there's that black line where you get above that threshold and you have symptoms, and symptoms get nasty, and we all have some type of symptom aspect. But what we're looking at here is that you reach that threshold and you've got your symptoms. And Annie says, okay, here we start what we call Doc Misak's 5-phase health mentality. And what is that? And I've taught about this in the basics, and naturopathic medicine teaches these principles of the healing power of nature, treat the whole person, identify the cause, the first do no harm, prevention, and these aspects of how to support the body, the doctor as a teacher. Well, the 5-phase turns around and says, well, what do we do to accomplish that? And so phase 1 is identify, or phase 1 is clean up your environment. pure air, pure food, pure water, EMF protection, just changing the products that you're using on your body, the quality of foods that you're putting in your body, the pure water that you're putting in your body, having air purifiers that get rid of microbes or make the dust and the particulate and the VOCs fall out of the air, breathing in pure air as well as you can, because you go outside and you look at what's in the skies or whatever else. We're polluted, people. Air quality is an issue. It's probably the best air you've ever breathed with this COVID-19 aspect, but because people have decreased driving and stuff like that. But I'm starting to see people starting to get back out again.
Mm-hmm. Traffic patterns are way normal around the city.
Right, and when we're looking at the phase one is cleaning up your environment. Phase two is identify the cause. Testing yourself for the aspects of food and chemical sensitivities, environmental toxicities, looking at RBTI and getting an idea of energy efficiency, doing organic acid testing. And when RBTI doesn't give us that whole full picture of like, oh my God, something's going on here, but these numbers aren't changing. Why? And we're looking at an analytical perspective. I look at blood, live blood, and looking at cellular patterns that give me ideas of, hey, there's deficiencies in this area, or there's signs of excessive stress in the blood. And so phase three comes down to detoxification, or phase three comes down to not detox, but supplementation. And how do you determine what supplements to take? RBTI is a basic model that tells us, based upon energy efficiency and where these variables are outside the norm, what to take and where to start, and what does your body actually need to improve energy efficiency. Not taking something for my thyroid, taking something for my adrenals, taking something for my liver, taking something for my lungs, taking something for whatever organ system, your pancreas, that you feel is the most stressed. Although RBTI helps you identify where that stress is coming from. So if you clean up your environment, reduce or identify your specific load, and then address that by removing that from your lifestyle, whether it means stop eating certain foods or whatever it may be. And then you start taking support of where we know what your body needs, not just taking everything you can to detoxify the body, but detox happens. Because now, if you notice, when you hit that line, there's a stair step where your threshold goes up. Now I'm taking support. So now my body can handle a larger load, although I've reduced the load. And as you get below that threshold and you notice that there's a restorative energy, you start remineralizing and giving the body what it needs, you start building energy up and you start generating more energy than what you are consuming. That is Reams's diagnosis of disease, was the day that you consume more energy than what you get from your food is the first day of disease, period. And naturopathic medicine is basically what this total load is the same thing. The day that you exceed your body's load capacity, your body can't do it all. It says, hey, I can only handle this. And so what we see is that you get symptoms. You've exceeded your threshold. So the idea here is that you start this mentality where you decrease your total load, you increase your threshold, and your body naturally starts to detoxify. We open up that drain. We start eliminating those toxins because the body says, hey, I'm now getting the energy that I need to maintain my day-to-day, but now all this crap that I've been storing because I haven't had the ability or the energy to handle it, I'm going to start dumping it. So that crap comes out of you, literally. I used to say you got to pee, poop, and sweat more junk out than what you're accumulating. And it's that simple. So if you look here, as you start this lifestyle aspect, you're starting that detoxification. You're starting to get yourself below that threshold. You've raised your threshold because you're now taking the support that you need. And phase 5 is self-awareness. And I've talked about that so much in regards to mental awareness of where you are. If you're below, and so why does it say here where you're in a restorative range and you actually, there's still a symptom line? Why is there a symptom line still below the threshold? Because that's self-awareness. Hey, I'm, although generating energy and feeling better and restoring, I still have symptoms. Some of those could be from detoxification. Some of those could be from, hey, I still have something going on, which is telling me I need to look a little deeper and figure out why these numbers aren't correcting. So when we go and we're building reserve energy and we are getting into that restorative, that A range, when we're looking at the ranges of all of our chemistry, that's where it's huge. It makes such a big difference. And we see people just getting better. So this is a visual aspect. Annie, I'm going to have you go ahead and switch that back down. Looks like I don't know if it's still up or not. Annie's in here doing some other things, but you guys are looking at this. I'm going to look and see what kind of feedback you are giving me. Betty Hernandez, good morning. Betty, you're there. I hope you like the graph and everything. And so you don't be sorry for being late. And Betty, I tried to just letting Betty know that I talked with Paul, and Paul wasn't able to get on today, but we're going to see if we can't get Paul Braddock on here on a future show. So Annie, I'm going to have you go back and you could let me know when we're back to people aren't looking at the graph and they're back to looking at us on Zoom meeting.
I can take it down. Are you done?
Sorry. Yeah,
I was sharing you out on Facebook and things like that. So there we go. It's gone.
Okay. So those of you, you could go back and I don't know if I'm still getting, and Betty says fantastic. I'm glad that makes sense, Betty. Betty, you're going to love the graphics that we've been putting together. So what we've done is we've broken down the perfect equation. Annie's turning around and doing a graphic that represents each one of the variables. I'm turning around and giving people an understanding of what that means. And so we're trying to make it practical. We're trying to turn around and say, you have visual aids that say, my God, I have symptoms of nervousness and numbness and tingling and things associated with excessive conductivity and like the static energy inside of me that's just going beep, and I don't know why. Well, we start looking at that sugar to salt ratio. We start looking at where your salts and what's driving up that conductivity. We start looking at, are you eating foods that are problematic, and we're eating things that are driving up conductivity with your bricks, because there's a pattern that occurs in your numbers when you're eating foods that you shouldn't. Food sensitivity patterns. It's plain as day, people. Bricks goes up, pH, urine pH goes down, saliva pH may go up a little bit because the liver's stressed and can't handle that toxic load of the food that you're eating. The conductivity goes up with the bricks. The cell debris goes up because you start getting cell destruction. The nitrates go down because you're not building that into usable protein, and the ammonia nitrate goes up. And then that causes overgrowth and imbalances in the digestive tract, and people need to do so what's happening is chemistry speeding up, so your digestive tract can say, we got to get rid of this crap, literally. And the microbial pattern in there, you start getting overgrowth of yeast and those type of things, and you get imbalanced microbes. And it all goes back to your load changes. So when we get into that healing range and that restorative range, it allows you to eat more foods. It allows you more variability in your diet. It allows you to do things in your diet that you haven't been able to. But if you keep doing it, you're going to notice that you're going to slip and you're going to fall out of that range. And then you're going to see symptoms. And that's where self-awareness comes in. Okay, I'm cheating. I'm paying for it. I can't eat that popcorn while I'm watching the movies. Let me find something else that I can eat. We're trying to find and outline foods and just make a lot of this practical. So Betty said, Paul said, by the way, Betty, that he is going to come on. I think he sounds a little nervous, I don't know, of doing a Zoom meeting. And he's like, hey, I prefer some questions or what you want to talk about. I'm like, Paul, I just want to talk to you about stories and, just pick your brain and just go live and like we're chatting. And he's like, well, okay, and so we're going to get a guy named Paul Braddock on here soon enough. And
well, Doc, everybody's not willing to just fly by the seat of their pants, a little bit.
What are you suggesting?
Well, I don't know the answer. Just saying.
Yeah, but Annie was really on me this morning. Like, Doc, I can't do this. You got to give me. We got. You
Well,
can't. You can't wait 15 minutes before and say, let's change these graphics right now and put them up.
right. He wants to launch a few more graphics to show you guys, which I'm up for, but we have to do a couple little tweaks, and I don't have all the fonts installed. And he's just like, "Oh, just do it, no problem. Put it up." Okay, but we're getting there. We're getting closer.
We are getting there.
I
We
really
are.
like that graph. I think it's wonderful. I love how it explains exactly what you're trying to get to. I love it. I'm excited to see the
Right.
buckets and everything.
Oh, the bucket. The bucket is the graphics are
They're
incredible.
the
You guys are
best.
gonna
Yeah,
love the buckets.
they are the
And
best.
but Annie's pinpointing me down to give you explicit titles. And she's like, look, Doc, we can't go live with this stuff because people are going to take pictures. They're going to stop it. They're going to, and you're going to be like, no, I don't want it to say that. So how many revisions did we go through on the one you just put up?
Oh, a lot. I mean, 20.
Yeah,
Lots of back and forth.
it really has been. So, don't worry, be happy. I agree,
Betty said
Betty.
he'll get over it. That's funny.
I will. I will. So, is there questions out there? I mean, I want this stuff to make sense. We got 34 of you out there, and we only have Betty out there chatting with us. And Betty, how do you feel like jumping on a Zoom meeting this morning? If you're out there, if you want to jump on, I will send you and forward you the how to dial in right now. If you want to jump on, and you got to make a comment whether you want to do that or not. I know that you've withheld that in the past a little bit. So let me know. So anyway, people, the idea with restorative health is, we're trying to give, because we don't treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose, we're trying to give you a model that says how, in naturopathic medicine, because those of you out there probably have some belief in naturopathic medicine, the healing power of nature, the vis medicatrix naturae, the aspects that, given the right scenario, the body will heal itself. It will. The mechanisms are already in you. Perfect is in you. Okay, because God is in and of all things. Whether He's holding you together, people. It is in you. But to achieve perfect and achieve those perfect numbers, people, that is a challenge. And I would, and I have had one person that I've known who has worked to achieve it, who kept a diet diary, who did not cheat, who made smoothies and monitored, and people, I am not that diligent. I will never be able to do the lifestyle that requires my numbers to become perfect, unless I don't know what would motivate me to do so. I can't. So we're getting some smiley faces. Just got here. Hello, Pine Tree. Betty says she is not presentable. Wow. She's probably wearing. I don't know. I don't want to go there. Betty, I'm gonna give you a hard time.
You got a good question though. Brix is range B or wait. I guess you need to know which one.
My Brix is range B. My pH is in range D. Which do I follow? Your pH. Okay, so pH tells you what to eat, and you have to go by the weakest range. But that's a good question. That's something that we're going to have to address at some point, because you go by the weakest range and say that your pHs are 6.7 over 6.4 consistently. You're running a little bit sluggish, but your Brix is running about your Brix runs about 1.0 to 1.1, and your conductivity will run probably, most people are still going to run about 7, between that 6.5 and 10, because very few people can get sea salt out of their diet, because they're buying hummus and they're buying various dips and things and chips and anything they put sea salt. They'll buy healthy food, and you go what's considered healthy food, even at your expensive natural grocery stores, and they load sea salt in everything. And so, but you might have somebody who has a Brix of 1.0 and 6.7 over 6.4, and then which puts them in the B, which puts them in the B range. And then you have the conductivity might be in the A range, and your cell debris could be in the A range. And then your nitrates could be in the A range. You can have nitrates that are, like, let's say 9/6, or let's say, better yet, let's say that they're 10/8, And so if you have those nitrates 10/8 and that ammonia nitrate is high, right, and your urine pH is elevated, that's telling you that the digestive tract is sluggish. You're building up your ammonia levels, and that's going to lead to overgrowth in the digestive tract, where you're going to need some colonics, people, and you're going to start seeing overgrowth and potentially parasites if that pH still keeps climbing up there. But because that Brix was in the D range, when you have pHs and all your other numbers are in the BC, that I would not turn around in somebody who is in the D range with the Brix and turn around and give them a D range diet, because everything's too slow. And the things in the D range, when you're eating foods based upon your urine pH in reality. And so I would turn around and say, you need sugar regulation. You need some type of juice, some type of sugar, something. You got to figure out what can you eat or drink that will keep your sugars up, and your pHs will stay there adjusted, because typically when people are drinking their water appropriately, pHs will climb up, because the B and the C range are higher efficient. You're talking 50 to 95% efficient, versus that A range trying to be 95 to 100 and just staying where you're continually building energy. So let me see here. Jackie says, girls need more than a 5-minute warning. Oh my God, you women. I'm telling you. It's really funny. 5 minutes before the show, I rode my motorcycle in here this morning, and my hair's matted in my head.
I was about to say that. Who's fixing their hair like 3 minutes before we're going on?
They want this to get it to go back out. At Leah Diddy, if one of the numbers in the D range, that's where you start. That is true. You do start, particularly if your first numbers are in the D, you're looking at that aspect. But I am going to interject and say, the Brix tells you what to drink and how to eat. Controlling those sugars is that potential energy. And when you get potential energy to fall in, the other numbers will kind of follow. But most important is that urine pH. Even Paul Braddock and Dr. Ream said that you get the urine pH to fall in, all the other numbers are going to follow. So when people have a consistently high saliva pH or some other numbers out, if you get that urine pH to hone in, everything will start to follow. But you can have somebody that'll have a 6.4/6.6 pHs. So the urine pH is falling in, but they're consistently running a Brix of 4 to 5. That person right there is consistently eating foods that their body can't tolerate. And that's an idea that where we need to turn around and look at, food sensitivities, identify what those foods are that's triggering it to be thrown out of whack, and drinking more water, staying hydrated, because that Brix is telling you what to drink. So, I could kind of, outside of that aspect of range, you do say they're in the DE range if any of the numbers is out of that. But in reality, sugar regulation is not that hard if people are avoiding foods that they're not supposed to eat. It really can fall in line very easily. Let me see. I measure being at the retreat with you. And yeah, I treasure being with you at the retreat, Jackie. Yes. Jackie, Betty is awesome, isn't she? Let's see. Carolyn. Good morning, Carolyn. How are you? Let's see. Kosher salt is clearly labeled as such and available in most grocery stores. It is. Where do you get the tests? You do them yourself, Rudy. We talked to you about how to do it at home, the equipment that you need. We are teaching people how to get that equipment. I sell the equipment. If you get all the professional equipment, it's right around $700 in all honesty. It's a true investment in your health. And then as we are getting people as to be certified as testers, like people who have gone through Jackie, you've gone through the training. Carolyn, you've gone through the training. You need to go on that Friends of RBTI map, and you need to put your name in there as a tester. And so that if people come to you and say, hey, can I get my test run through you? And if you're willing to run tests, and you don't have to be their counselor or their guiding them as what to take. Because if Philip was out there, which I was hoping he was going to be, it's about just after midnight in Australia. I was texting Philip how to log in today. We are going to be introducing his program, and we're tweaking his program because in America. So we're going to start bringing that in through the coalition. I don't know how many of you have seen docmisak.com, DOCMISAK.com. And there is a link to the coalition on there. It says that you can join. You can put your information in there, but it's not accepting payments right now. So you actually won't officially be joined at this point in time. But that we have got that up. You can read about the coalition, stuff like what Annie's putting together and the visual aids. We're going to make that stuff available through the coalition as teaching aids. But then we're also going to turn around and link a program that for those of you who could find people like Jackie, people like Earth Garden Living, people like Carolyn, people like Betty, anybody, Rudy, who is out there and knows how to run the test, you can turn around, put your numbers in the program, and it will spit out the basics. It's going to tell you the basics of the diet. It's going to tell you the basics of supplementation that you need in order to be able to start your chemistry and start your restoration approach. And we're trying to do that in a very safe manner because, you can, I go back and you look at historical recommendations and going through RBTI, and it really bothered me from a professional standpoint because I'd look and some of those recommendations from classical teachers after Dr. Reams were telling you to take, 4,000 or 5,000 milligrams of calcium, take 6 Mincol a day. Okay, right there, that's 600 milligrams. Take 6 Cal2 a day. There's another 1,500 milligrams of calcium. Take 6 calcium gluconates a day. Whoa, now we're pushing another 600 milligrams. Now we're well over 2 grand of of calcium. And then they'd start saying how you should blend them. Now you need to add 6 to 9 cal lactates a day. And there's people swallowing literally, I'm swallowing, 10 calcium pills with every meal. And I look at those old recommendations and I'm like, oh my, that's just crazy from a standpoint, because my way of looking at it is RBTI is a system of measurement. And if the numbers aren't moving, it doesn't mean do more of the same thing and expect a different result. I just need to take more calcium. No, people, there's a reason those numbers aren't moving. Maybe you're eating foods that you shouldn't be eating, and that's what's keeping you acidic and your Brix is high. Learn to control your sugars, learn what to eat. So what I've done, Earth Garden Living, I'd probably be willing to send you my handout. And if you email my office, I will send you the handout, Earth Garden Living. Carolyn Worsham, I think I just sent it to you. So Carolyn, I would love you to turn around and comment on the handout that I just emailed you in regards to how to go back and look at these things, because nobody's ever presented the prominent calciums and the texting in the format that I just sent it to you is. And I'm not giving anybody new information. We're just presenting it in a manner that can click and say, oh my God, this makes sense. How do I can do this. And that's what we're trying to do. So let's see what we have here. Where do you get the test? So Rudy, if you're interested in testing equipment, you can email my office, and anybody can email my office. It's office@pittsburghalternativehealth.com. I believe if you go to Doc Misak, it'll send an email, but it goes somewhere different and it gets forwarded to me if it's in regarding those type of things. I think that docmisak.com people is just trying to gather information to let you know where and how we're moving. One of the things is the articles that are on there. There's 3 articles that talk about bioelectric chemistry. That's RBTI, people. That's RBTI. when I'm trying to teach these concepts to health professionals today, they are not gonna, they don't understand, biological ionization. They don't. It's that's the basic aspects of it. But if you talk about bio, body, electric, chemistry, we're looking at the chemistry that makes up the electric nature of what we are and how to affect that. And that's how I'm trying to explain this to the profession. And next month, guess what? Naturopathic Doctor News and Review, NDNR. You are going to see another published article about this, and at that point, I'll share it with you. I have, Betty, I would send it to you. I don't know if I did, but we can't turn around and make that available to people because the publisher has the rights to it once I give it to them. Sister has mild pancreatitis. What causes it? Well, pancreas inflammation, bottom line. And so you're looking at somebody's pancreas who can't handle the stress load. That's where you got to run numbers. Typically what you'll see is their nitrates are low, their urine or saliva pH is elevated, and it's a sign that the liver is totally bogged down, can't handle the stress, can't make the enzymes, can't provide the pancreas with what it needs to make the enzymes. You typically see a potassium deficiency because of the stress. And if you want to know what inflammation is, you have cells that are less than 100% that are breaking down, demineralizing, and where they're losing mineral, particularly calcium, that void of space of where electrically it should be optimized gets filled, where the calcium gets filled with water. And then water causes inflammation inside the cell. Nobody explains that better than Michael Ulsta. I think Michael Ulsta is great at teaching the concepts of RBTI and putting it on a textbook level for people to see what's actually happening on an electrical level, which in reality, in my opinion, is great for professionals on that college level that want to learn this stuff. But for you guys, you don't need to know that. It's an inflammation aspect. Bottom line, they're not making enzymes. You can load that person up with both systemic enzymes and digestive enzymes. And basically what you're doing is helping them to take the load off the pancreas. Systemic enzymes, I use VitalZyme. I carry it at my office. Relatively expensive product. It's typically about $195 for a bottle of 360 capsules. I reduce that price, and there's no reason for make a standard markup on that. So I think I reduced it to about $145 or something like that. But 360 capsules, if you're doing 6 a day, that's 6 into 360. You're looking at 60-day supply. And so, and then you need digestive enzymes whenever they're eating. And that is not RBTI. However, you will if you go and read textbooks of RBTI, particularly Badeau. I know Sue took over Manthey's, Aberley, I believe. They always recommended enzymes. I know Gary Martin puts people on enzymes. And a lot of these people, why? Because what they're trying to do is say, hey, we know that the body needs to make these 5 billion enzymes and you are not making them, so let's give them to you. From a naturopathic perspective, if I turn around and give the body what it needs, I'm telling the body that it doesn't need to make it. Okay? So for a short-term period, you go back to my little aspect of that chart that I had up earlier, and you're starting to detox and you're raising your threshold. Enzymes and those type of things are appropriate. But what I have you do is that mixture of lemon, 1 ounce of lemon, 9 ounces of distilled water, that's 10 ounces a day, and drinking a third of that after your meals. If somebody has pancreatitis, do not do a Reams diet and drinking lemon every hour. Don't do it. That will overburden. It'll stimulate too much, and that person you'll cause with low potassium status. They'll have heart palpitations and just too much stress on the body. The numbers tell you when you detox, and so I would tell you that this person has a potassium deficiency because they're stressed. Who's stressed out there? Raise your hand. Okay. I don't see anybody's hands raising. Come on. Okay. Still don't see any, but all I see is Annie. Oh, there we go. I got one.
trying to get my fonts installed. See? I'm
But
talented.
but if you have stress, your body's going to use more potassium. Period, people. Potassium-rich foods, avocados, coconut water. It's wonderful. For people who are stressed out. Apricots, wonderful for bringing up your potassium levels. Lima beans are really good for those. Like Annie's doing her nose like this.
I can't with beans. I'm glad I'm a B type and I don't have to eat them because it's torture. Absolute torture.
So, but tomatoes, if you're not reactive, I do find so many people reactive to the nightshades. I'm just careful with that. But I would tell you for the pancreatitis, if you don't have anybody who can run a set of numbers and get you started on an appropriate program, lowering the load, avoiding food sensitivities, start supporting minerals, one Mincol with every meal. Just the place to start. Get some calcium in those digestive juices when you are eating. Basics, people, basics. But those systemic enzymes and digestive enzymes, that's going to help tremendously for somebody who is in that state. Maybe you can give a list of people that do the test. You know what? When we do the coalition and we start joining through the coalition, I'm going to have a map of anybody who's registered as a tester. And they're going to have the choice to be able to make themselves known and available. And I don't care what you charge people to run tests for them. If it's an inconvenience for you and you want to, run $40 on somebody, which is highway robbery, because your cost in doing that test for somebody is probably a couple bucks minus your time. So it is a value, what you value your time at. And that's my most valuable commodity, people. Ask Betty trying to get a hold of me. Huh, Betty? But bottom line, testers, we need to know who you are. And we want to link you up and help people to find you. Betty, calcium should be in the foods you eat. We could teach you how to enrich the calciums with the food as you prepare it. Heck yeah. Sometimes, Betty in her class teaches those things. I love, by the way, people putting a little bit of, whenever I'm cooking vegetables, sauteing them, boiling, if I'm just, boiling some beans or heating up some peas, green peas by boiling them. What do I put in there, Annie?
Salt, pepper, oil. I don't know. I don't eat peas.
Blackstrap molasses.
Oh.
A little bit of blackstrap molasses. If you're tasting it and the vegetables are taking on the flavor of the blackstrap molasses, you're putting too much. I took an old little squirt bottle like you do like a ketchup squirt bottle, and I just sit there and go squirt, and I put a little squirt of blackstrap molasses in those things because it is the most concentrated, it's loaded with iron, mineral food out there. It's considered a food item. And that'll load you up. And Betty teaches in her class and some of those aspects, some of those tidbits. And Betty, I hope you're okay when people are ordering test kits. I provide that basic handout, when people are learning to test with, the basics of how to remineralize foods and some of the concepts that you're teaching in regards to the handout that I just sent you. And I've actually updated that handout even since I sent it to you, Betty. So that's something that we should do. Earth Garden Living, triple smiley face. I'm glad you're going to enjoy it. Jackie's probably screaming. I'll be calling you. I have something for you. And she's saying, as long as you'll exchange Dr. Misak's handout with me. Right, Jackie? Carolyn, I like your handout. It helps me choose what foods to eat. That is the key, people. Foods. How many of you eat yellow crooked neck squash?
Now
I hate that. Right. But, I like them when they're small so they don't have those big seeds in them. But why would I tell you to eat yellow crooked neck squash? Because it has 5 prominent calciums in it. Why would I tell you to eat honey or golden mangoes? Because they have 5 prominent calciums in them. Why would I tell you to get moringa powdered if you're doing any type of juicing or any type of smoothies in the morning, to put moringa powder in it? Because it has 5 prominent calciums in it. You need to get these 6 calcium forms in some form in your diet a day, or Reams showed that there's an imbalance because those various forms of calcium are needed for various mechanisms in your body. And so the best source is food. And so that's why level 1 retreats is food, how to test, how to eat. I'm teaching right now to break it down into ranges and then what foods to eat in those ranges. We're trying to simplify this instead of you going through a list of calciums and saying, okay, which ones can I eat? I'm breaking it down, and we're trying to bring it to a more simplified level. Betty says that Dr. Ream says there are no better enzymes in the lemon. Betty, I remember him saying that the lemon provides the basic amino acids so that you can build and make up to 5 billion enzymes. That not that the lemon is the enzyme, but that the lemon tells the body to make the enzymes. And that's what we're trying to do. Let's get your body to restore, not replace it. That's the way I remember it. And so, and that's what, and I know that I've read that and heard that in him talking. I make kombucha for enzymes. Kombucha is a good source. You have to watch kombucha. It will make you a little bit acidic, but it is a great source of enzymes and some good positive microbial aspects. If you're in the DE diet, just watch out for it kind of keeping you in that enzyme or in that acid as basic or that acid pattern. Existing maps of testers are outdated. We will be updating them with the coalition. Heck yeah, we will. I'm absolutely okay with whatever you do, Doc. Don't be okay with whatever I do. I'm not okay with everything that I do. I'm broken as well as all of us are, and I'm trying to fix my own self, Betty. So, but thank you for that support. We all need emotional uplifting, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there we are. How are we coming on any handouts or presentation there?
I'm working. Yeah, I have the 5-phase road ready, but I gotta get online here, email it over.
Okay. All right. So we are going to see another little handouts that kind of brings into play here. Jackie, Betty, I can remember you telling us olives have the calcium that no other food has. And I want to know who can say what form of calcium that is without looking at their little cheat sheet. I can't remember what it is and what kind, but I know exactly what it is. It's a neutral form. Many people will take it in a magnesium form. And what's interesting, is, we have different forms of various minerals, You can get chromium, you can get GTF chromium, you can get chromium picolinate, you can get, various forms of zinc oxide, you can get zinc picolinate, you can get zinc citrate, you can get zinc aspartate, you can get potassium aspartate. Potassium and magnesium aspartate, people, are wonderful for anybody who has various heart conditions, because potassium and magnesium aspartate, that specific form, helps with the channels of how minerals are happening, and specifically for the heart to optimize its performance electrically. And so, and potassium and magnesium aspartate, for those of RBTIers, are specific forms of potassium and magnesium that actually help to lower your ammonia levels. So those of you who say, hey, my ammonia levels, my NH4 levels, that yellow number is staying at a 8 to 10 and I can't get it down, and I feel like I have chronic candida, and you probably do, or parasites or something going on. Potassium magnesium aspartate will help to lower those, as well as yucca extract will help you to lower those ammonia levels. And so, Betty, I don't know if you've ever seen the handout that Rex posted a long time ago by Thurman McCoy, and it's broken down to say, hey, if we turn around, and I basically, it was a photocopy of this really old handout. And so I turned around and had it typed up and turned it into a nice little handout. And it looks like this. And those of you who can see. And what it does is the yellow areas say to acidify the saliva pH only, to alkalize the urine pH only, to alkalize the saliva pH only, to increase my salts only, to increase my nitrate nitrogens, but decrease my ammonia nitrogen. So, so where you're not digesting. So what did Reams use? Corn, not genetically modified, not it's got to be organic, non-GMO corn, people, and it's hard to find. But corn, that's a great one. How do I increase my ammonia nitrates, decrease my increase my nitrate nitrates and decrease my ammonia nitrates? Corn, vitamin K, capsicum or pepper, beet juice, cauliflower, collard greens. Now, is this Reams? No. This is not directly from Reams. This is not from Manthe, who did a lot of teachings with him on the anatomy tapes and those type of things. This is not from Gene. This is not from Challen. This is a guy named Thurman McCoy, who is an RBTIer in Australia. But what I call this is RBTI perspectives.
I have that. I can put that up if you're ready, whenever you want.
Yeah, okay. So let's wait a second, though.
Yep.
So RBTI perspectives, people, are people who have turned around and have utilized the principles of RBTI. They were clinicians. They work with all kinds of people, even like Gary Martin and other people like that. But there are people in the RBTI world that just say, this is not RBTI. And it's not directly RBTI. It's not from Reams. But these are people who turned around and made clinical observations that when you want to increase, or decrease your nitrate nitrogen and increase your ammonia nitrogen, I don't know how often you'd actually want to do that, but, eat peanuts. Yeah, they're full of mold. That'll make your ammonia nitrogen go up for certain, He also talks some vitamin A may do that. Carob powder. Wow, chocolate. That's a no-no food. And then it goes back and it'll be and these, what happens is what Reams taught supports these, but it's indirect teaching. It's a perspective of RBTI. So I hope that Betty, that you and I can go and get in contact with Gene's family and, number one, get the copyright of that book back, and let's make that available to people, legally, instead of the PDF version that's out there, that's on the internet. But let's have legal aspects, and if they feel that they need financial rewards for making it available, that's fine. But I want to go back to your dad's version of that book and not hers, and Betty's probably going amen to that, but these RBTI perspectives I have found, from Healthology, I can't think of the guy's name. I have found pearls of information, such as a liver gallbladder flush that's in there. And Betty, now you've experienced what that liver gallbladder flush does in lowering people's saliva pH when it gets too high because the liver's getting sluggish. The nitrates go up, the ammonia nitrates go down. That shows increased efficiency, people. It shows that the liver is handling the stress, you're building proteins, you're decreasing waste. So RBTI perspectives is something that I want to be able to share and not say it's Reams and not say it's golden, but it's something that you can do in testing yourself and that you can observe in your numbers. And if they move towards healthier, then you're increasing energy efficiency. So Annie has another little thing here that she's going to show. And wow, I just picked up and I got about 20 comments, and we're going to go back and go back to those. But Annie, bring that up for a second.
Okay, it's up, and they can still see you too.
Oh, and they can see me. Wow. I was hoping that they couldn't. I wanted to pick my nose. COVID. Okay. Anyway, 5-phase health mentality, people. So look at this. So we talk about this on the road to health is what we're trying to look at. Phase 1, environmental protection, pure air, pure food, pure water, EMF protection. Can't get away from it, but you can neutralize it. And we've talked about things like that. Phase 2, Identify the cause. Test. No. Analyze. Phase 2 is I do electrodermal testing, looking for food chemicals. I do organic acid testing. We do RBTI. Identify the cause, mineral deficiencies, basic vitamin deficiencies. Test, identify the cause, remove the cause. Phase 3, support, RBTI, diet, looking at the efficiency of what your body needs based upon how your body is working. So think about that. You clean up your environment, you identify what your causes are, and you reduce those in the food and the diet and the lifestyle and the microbial loads. You start supporting the body in phase 3 of what the body actually needs. Phase 4, detox, naturally happens. Your body starts to kick out the crap. Just happens. Phase 5, self-awareness. I still have symptoms. Why? What am I missing? My numbers still aren't right. Well, how does that correlate with my symptom pattern? That's where we're going to break down each one of the variables in the equation and show you what symptom patterns are associated with that. So you can have awareness. Wait a minute. My ammonia nitrates are high. My gastrointestinal tract I'm gassy and bloaty. Why? Doc says if my ammonia nitrates are higher than 7, I probably need a probiotic. Why? What's happening? I want you to ask the question, why? I want you to know who you are. I want you to know what your limits are, what your possibilities are. How did Milton Erickson, the father of hypnosis, get out of a wheelchair with polio and no medications? He deemed it possible in his mind. What's possible in yours? If I can only touch Jesus's cloak, I'll be healed. Christ says, hey, who took it? Who touched me? Everybody's touching you. Well, no, I felt power leave from me. Why? Because she believed it. How many healing stories are from faith? What do you believe? If you believe you've got terminal cancer and that this is going to be the end of you, there's not a darn thing I can help you with or anybody can help you with, because you've already convinced yourself this is it. Mentality. You could take that off again. So just to give you guys a picture that Reams taught a beautiful thing, incredibly beautiful thing. And so what we're trying to do is say, yeah, but there's kind of a pattern. You could say, I could go by my numbers. I can eat this, but I can't eat all I want. I can't keep eating crap and expect those numbers to change by eating the same crappy diet that's wrong for me. All right, let's look at these numbers. Let's look at these last things here and see what we need to do. The form of calcium was calcium orotate, by the way, Jackie. In the middle of reading the mold book, pine tree. Yeah, isn't that a wake up? How many people know how to recognize mold in the numbers? You're going to see high pHs typically. You're going to see the possibility of both mold and parasites. Mold and parasites goes well together, by the way. You will see people test positive for both. Betty says, my dad made me eat those black olives. I use zinc sulfate. I don't. I use zinc citrate and zinc aspartate. Love your honesty, Doc. You're welcome. I try to be. Betty, tell a story of wanting to be an actress. Yeah. Let's see. I love that one, Betty. Betty, it doesn't have to be directly from Reams. Go by the numbers. Yes, exactly. Doc Misak, 815. I had you guys. 815 doesn't mean anything. What are you doing?
I was working on my other computer and typing for that, and it was on the other one. So, just ignore me.
I quit eating peanut. Oh, here's funny. I had some peanut butter last night before I went to have to go bowling, and I had some soup, and I had some spelt bread, and I had some peanut butter. And I'm one of those people that when I was in college, I lived on ramen noodles, and I made peanut butter sandwiches, and I put crackers on them so it was crunchy, and then I dip it in my ramen noodles, and it was delicious. However, after eating that peanut butter last night, I left to go bowling. Yes, there is one bowling alley open in all of West Virginia, nowhere in Pennsylvania, and it's Annie's family.
That
they
would
own it.
be Striker Sports Bar at
And
Holiday Lanes in Weirton, West Virginia. Go there.
so we did, and I went there with my older son. There's only 10 people bowling on all these 30, 20 lanes plus or whatever. And because, they separate people out. And but it was just an incredible time. Let me go. But I ate that peanut butter, and while driving there, I was getting nasally. I was trying to clear my throat out. I think it was a mold reaction. I think that I was getting all phlegmy, and because I've been tested positive for mold, and when you eat mold, that mold will kind of spark out that mold to kind of make your symptoms get worse. You have a version of your dad's copy in a PDF format, then if you're willing to share that on the coalition at some point, Betty, that would be awesome. Amen. Faith moves. God increases faith through hearing the word of God. So when you're reading your Bible, people, read it out loud. It says that you increase your faith through hearing the word of God. There's power. Why? Because hearing is vibration. We're speaking it out. We're putting it out. And how long does that go? Forever. Speak those words, and they transmit through eternity because there's no such thing as time. They're out there. And so hearing the word of God is what increases your faith by your portion that God gives you. And if you want to increase your faith, then you need to read that Bible out loud and hear that word by people who are speaking truth. God gave all we need, and he will increase your portion. All you got to do is ask him to do it and listen to that word. As a man thinketh is his heart, so is he. Amen. Would doing this help with nerve pain? Heck yeah. Nerve pain is basically excessive stress to your nerves. You got conductivity going on, and if you're turning around, and so basically your nerves are screaming because they have lack of oxygen. So you have poor oxygen regulation, which correlates with both your bricks and your conductivity being elevated. And so therefore you're eating foods that you shouldn't, drives those numbers up. The high conductivity causes static energy, breaks down nerves, breaks down smooth muscle, and you have chronic numbness, tingling, and pain. And so, yeah, you need to control your bricks, your conductivity, your pHs will fall in control by taking the right minerals and eating the right diet, and mostly through diet. And then you can use things like niacin and flush yourself. And when you do niacin flushing, there's all types of things out there about niacin detox and stuff like that. Do not niacin detox if you don't have your numbers falling into a detox pattern, which I need to teach you guys, but get your sugars, your pH control. That's why I say start with your first 5 numbers. You can get a pH meter, a refractometer, or just pH strips and a refractometer, and you can start the basics. If you avoid the sea salt and you get the bricks controlled, and as long as you're staying away from sea salt, Himalayan salt, and minimizing salt intake, you will see your conductivity get under control. So there's really a strong aspect of where you can get a pH strips, which are not your best way to test. You can get a pH meter. We sell them for like $180, I think, for the right pH meter, and we calibrate it for you. Plus, we're sending you information on it. But if you run your first 4 numbers and you start getting those to fall in, I tell you the first 5, look at your urine and see that you're dumping cell debris. As those numbers fall in, I had a lady once who couldn't drive because her nerve pain was so bad, or she couldn't feel her feet anymore. And so one time we were doing a consult after about 6 weeks. They were literally a month and a half, and she hadn't driven for over 3 years, but she still had her license. She just renewed it. Mm-hmm. And then she said, and she expected me to catch that she said that she drove in that morning. She said, well, I drove here today. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. She's like, no, Doc, I haven't driven for 3 years. Okay. She said, I couldn't drive. I couldn't feel my feet. I drove here today.
Mm-hmm. It's epic. It changed my life. They were trying to diagnose me with MS because every time I'd walk downhill, I'd fall. I mean, down the stairs, I can't tell you how many times I would fall because of my nerve pain. I was so weak. And it was constant. If I laid down, I had restless leg syndrome. I mean, the symptoms were exacerbated. I mean, because it was affecting my quality of life. It was that bad. I mean, granted, I was still driving. Maybe I shouldn't have been sometimes because a lot of times I couldn't feel my feet, but I don't know. RBTI changed my life. When I met Doc, it took about 2.5 weeks, and it was as if a light switched through my body. And I think a lot of that, I had a lot going on. When I met Doc, my hair was long, but it broke off on one side. My nails were not hard. I could peel them back completely. I had so many things going on, and I say that all the lights on my dashboard were going off because that's how it was every day, and I had no reason for it. I couldn't make any sense of it. But coming to you, turns out I had a vitamin B deficiency and all of these problems, that I had no idea even existed before that. And now, yes, I have a lot of pain, but my quality of life has changed a lot in regard to my nerve pain, where I'm not collapsing. I'm stronger. Granted, I get weak. I still have a lot of that going on, but it's not, as soon as I wake up in the morning, it's just there. I have to activate it, do too much, and irritate it to make it get to that point. So I'd say RBTI is the best thing that you can do for nerve pain, period. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you for sharing. Hey, we finally got Annie to go live and just break free and get out of the shell and talk to us. Thank you so much. So Annie, what's 30/30?
More numbers, I'm trying to change my document size over here. Working.
All right. Did you say the coalition's ready to join? No. But if you go to docmisak.com, you can view the coalition. You can see the categories, and it will ask you to join. And you can put in you're not actually joining because it's not able to accept the money aspects. And even if we did get it to accept the money, it does not have content. So you join, and then it turns around and says, okay, you're a member, but what do I get for being a member? There's no content.
It's coming
to where we're providing. And that's where the handout that Earth Garden Living's waiting for is part of that content. And we're trying to make it into some basics. And then even better is we're going to bring a computer program that once you run the numbers, that you can put the numbers in and get the basics. As a general person, you're going to be able to put your numbers in, and you're going to be able to see what to eat. As a tester, you're going to be able to put the numbers in, and you're going to see what to eat and what to take as far as supplements. It's in basic guidelines. As a professional, you're going to have open aspects. And so we're trying to define who are professionals. And so we are going to require probably people who have gone to, number one, if you are a medical doctor, a naturopathic doctor, you actually have credentials that allow you to be a professional. We're going to do that. But when we're also going to have you list what your levels of training is with regards to RBTI. But what we are working on is a webinar series. So if we're going to be, stuck at home or not able to actually have physical retreats, we're going to have a 12-week, 1 hour a week program where you have homework, and that we're going to teach you RBTI at home. Okay, here's how you test. Here's how you eat. I want you to test yourself this week, and I want you to show me what your numbers are doing by how you're eating. And then we're going to go over each one of those aspects in a 12-week. And the second one is going to be, we're going to talk over supplementation and how to recognize when you need certain B vitamins, and how to recognize when you need certain minerals, and so we're trying people, you can go back and read Badeau's textbook, and he gives outlines, but very few specifics. And so this is all in the future, and this is all where we're going. But oh my, have we gone over today? We're probably about 15 minutes over, and people, I have younger crowds who are already complaining that an hour-long show is too much to watch, and they watch it in bits and pieces. My daughter's friends are actually watching these things. So I'm going to say goodbye. We'll see you later. Have a great day. God bless you all. We'll see you. Bye. Thank you. We'll see you, people. We'll be back next week. Have a great week. But more to come for certain. God bless you all.